Hi crafty friends, this is Tracie Hinds aka Nanner BaNanner signing in. In today's video we're taking a nostalgic trip back to the fabulous 1950s with these adorable retro apron tags. I'll show you how to turn pattern paper, vintage recipe cards, and gingham ribbon into charming apron-shaped tags that are perfect for your junk journals, recipe books, happy mail, or memory keeping projects. These cuties feature real pockets for tucking in mini recipes, quotes, or journaling spots, and each one is a sweet nod to the vintage homemaker aesthetic we love. The supplies I used: scrapbook paper and retro prints, vintage or faux recipe cards, red gingham ribbon. Sewing machine is optional. The ones we make today will not be sewn, but the ones I did for examples were. A fussy cut, some fussy cut embellishments. And if you like to distress ink around your edges, you'll want to distress those as well. Whether you're a seasoned junk journaler or just getting started, this tutorial is simple, fun, and full of that retro flair. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already for more daily journaling inspiration. Share your creations with me. I would love to see your take on these apron tags. Okay, let's get started. First, I want to go and show you the ones that we've already got done. Let's see. Aren't these cute? The little recipes pop in and out. I had so much fun yesterday joining Carrie at the Paper Monkeys live. She showcased my channel and actually made some of the items I made last week on my channel. It just made my day. Thank you, Carrie. You are such a sweet, sweet lady. Okay, so I want to start by showing you how I made the tin plate for the apron. I took a 4x6 index cards, which I think most of us have. I folded it in half and then I just cut as best I could the armhole shape here, and then when you open it up it kind of looks like an apron. And then this is a 3x2 inch pocket that goes on the front. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut some of these out to make a couple with you. Hope everybody's having an awesome Sunday. It's beautiful here. It's a little warm, but beautiful out. You guys, I went to my very first estate sale. I've never been to an estate sale. I know Maddie, she's always at Madeline Diet Designs. If you guys haven't been to her channel, you need to go check her out and check her Etsy shop out. I just love her. She goes to them, and she also does life sales, which I've gotten things from her there, and I am just blown away with what she puts together. She is a master at curating items for junk journaling. But I've been like, that must just be something that they have in the South. I've never seen one advertised up here in the North, and I finally seen one. I couldn't believe it, and so I thought, I'm going to that, and I did, and it was eye-opening. Some of the things there, they had some beautiful vintage tablecloths. I would have loved to have got some of those, but they wanted, I felt like a lot for them. They wanted $15 a piece for them, and a lot of them had stains on them, so I passed on that. But what I didn't pass on, and it was actually all I bought from the sale, was children's books and textbooks from the 1940s. And I got like 3 Kroger bags full of what she had, and I didn't take everything she had, but I took the ones that were in good shape, and then there were some that were kind of falling apart that she basically let me have, because I thought, well, I won't feel bad about cutting the images out of those, and I'll hang on and hoard the ones that are in good shape for a while and just look through them. I had so much fun last night looking through those and looking through all the pictures. And my dad stopped by, and I was like, are these the books that you had when you were in school? And he's like, well, that was a long time ago. I can't remember. He said, but I'm sure it looks like this would have been about right. It's when I would have been, 7, 8 years old and in school. So that was fun reminiscing with him. And but yeah, that was so much fun. And then I went to a few garage sales in the area as well, and didn't get much, picked up a few things. I got a giant quilt book that'll be good for signature pages depending on the type of journals I do, and they're the really thick ones. So if I do some glue books, something like that, they would look nice, or I could use them to fold into pocket pages instead of always using scrapbook paper. Okay, so I think I've got everything cut out that I need. I've got my pockets here. I've got my apron. I think we're just going to make 2, even though I cut out an extra one. We're just going to make 2. So the next thing we need to do is glue our aprons onto some scrapbook paper. So I'm going to flip this over, and something to keep in mind, this scrapbook paper is not directional. It doesn't matter which way you put these on, you're going to be fine. But I accidentally, when I was making these samples to show you, there was this one right here where the flowers are facing up, and I put the other ones that I had cut out and the flowers were facing down, so I didn't use those. That's why there's only one of these. But, all right, so let's get gluing. Another thing, I'm going to back these with some coffee dyed paper. If you coffee dyed your index cards, which is what I'd recommend because it'd save you a step in making these, you wouldn't have to use the coffee dyed paper, but I didn't want these to be stark white, and they could be, I guess, if you don't mind, but I decided I was going to do the coffee dyed paper on the back. And get these glued, put down. I just thought these were so stinking cute, and I happened to see an apron that was, well, it was like a barbecue apron. It was an advertisement for a barbecue, and I was like, oh my gosh, I bet I could make tags like that. That's where the idea came from. While I was on Carrie's live, there was a few people, because I had mentioned that I make some of my fussy cuts for my projects using ChatGPT, and they're like, oh, we need a video so we can learn how to do that. I'm planning that now. My daughter's going to come over because I use my phone to use my ChatGPT app, and she's going to come over, and I use my phone to video these YouTube videos. So it's like, well, how am I going to show what I'm doing on my phone for the video and film at the same time? So she's going to come over and film me doing the ChatGPT. That'll be next weekend is what we're planning for right now. And my granddaughter's going to spend the night, and she's been wanting to make a video with me too. So I think we're going to try and do a painted signature paper video where we paint papers to use in signatures is my plan. We'll see if all that comes together or not, but it's always good to have a plan. It was so cute, you all. I don't think I've shared this on my channel yet, but when I posted that first video I posted, I sent it to my granddaughter because, you know, she's 12 now, and those 12-year-olds are all about, oh, I want to be a influencer when I grow up and stuff like that. And she's known I've wanted to do a YouTube sharing my ideas on junk journaling and stuff like that. Well, she has known me actively talking about it for about a year, and I just would get in my head and be like, oh, I don't think I can do this. So I sent her the link to the video on her phone, and she's like, oh my gosh, Nanner, you achieved your dream, exclamation point. And it just made my day. I was like, oh my gosh, that was so sweet. And she's like, are we going to get to make our video together now where we make paper together? And we had watched Treasure Books where she did the painted paper, and she was here spending the night then, and she's like, I think that looks like fun. And I was like, well, we should do that. That would be a good project for us to do together. And when she was little, I taught art classes at a local art shop, and like painting, that sort of thing. the wine and canvas, and she would come and hang out, and she would do her own version of painting on days when it was not wine and canvas, but Nanner was in the shop. So there's the fronts of our aprons. Let's see here. Let me get the coffee dyed paper and we'll get these put on here for that. You guys, my grandson, he recently, it's been about 2 weeks now, but he is all boy. He's 2 years old and he is 100%. He was playing in roughhousing and fell, and they thought he broke his arm, but when they did x-rays and stuff, it wasn't broken, but it was sore and bugging him, so they put him in a sling. And oh my gosh, I wish I could share this picture of you of him showing me that arm and holding it up like, look at me, I'm a tough guy. It was so cute. And grandbabies, they make life worth living, don't they? Oh my gosh, they are the most precious thing. I don't know about you grandmas out there, but I swear I like my grandbabies so much more than I like my own kids. I know you probably shouldn't say that, but I do. All right. And after I get done filming this video, I'm going to start working on the toppers for the journals I'm making for this series. And I'll do a video for those as well. I don't know that that'll happen today, but because I've still got to come up with how I want them to look and that sort of thing. I've been playing around with some ideas. I did a prototype of the journal because I've talked before. A couple of the journals I make will be bigger journals, and I'll use actual recipe books and just do the fabric binding, but the recipe book will be the majority of the cover. But then I do what's called monthlies, and when I go to the craft fair, those are what really everybody wants, and I try to make them a low price point, because in my area a lot of people don't know what junk journaling even is. They're like, what are these? And then I try to explain, and they're intrigued, but they're still not sure. So the feedback I got last year was they wished that I had a lower price point on some of my journals so they could try it. And I thought, well, I'll try and do that. And I'll be honest, those are not my favorite journals to make because I like all the stuff. I like the tassels, I like the dangles and the lace and the sewing and all of that. But when you're trying to make one a little bit less expensive, you know, there's just some corners that you can't include in the process. And so for me, those aren't quite as much fun because I like my journals to be extra. So with each series, I try to do one or two what I would hard for me to want to sell journals, and then the other ones are the monthlies that the whole purpose of doing the series to begin with was to make them for the craft fair. And I try to work on them all year because I don't want to have to work so hard right up before the craft show. I just want to be able to take my time and enjoy it. I used to do a lot of commission journals, and people would just give me the theme they wanted their journal to be for a special gift or a special friend or someone taking a trip. And I enjoyed doing that because I made a lot of journals that I wouldn't otherwise have made. But I did the majority of them before Christmas last year, but right around that time, and I got sick, and I had 6 commission journals that I didn't get finished for Christmas gifts because I was sick. I had the influenza A, I had COVID, and I swear I went an entire month sick, I think. But I ended up, because I felt so bad that I didn't get them done for Christmas, that I just made them and didn't charge them anything. And I don't want to find myself in that situation again, so I haven't been taking on commission journals since then. I just, if I make something and somebody wants it, I sell it, and if not, it'll go to the craft show, and that's fine, and I'm okay with that. I want want to keep it fun. And for me, I just love the creative process. It's like, I swear, it's like a muscle. Like when you first get started junk journaling, I'm like, I just don't know what I want to do. I don't know what theme to do, things like that. But then when you start doing it every day like I do, it's like the ideas just keep popping, and you can't, there's not enough hours in the day for all the ideas. That's where I'm at now. I've got so many ideas for embellishments for these journals and stuff like that. And I know it's going to come to a point where I've got to decide and have a cutoff that, okay, enough embellishments. You can only fit so much stuff in a journal, and time to move on to the next theme. But this is a fun theme. I have really enjoyed this 1950s housewife theme. It is so cute. And I had gotten a magazine from one of Maddie's live sales, and it was from the 1930s or 40s, I think, and it was so cute because it's like household tips to stretch your dollar. And I have had so much fun looking through that book. I'm not going to cut that up or use it. I'm just going to keep that on a shelf to pull down and look at, because it's neat. And it's funny, the stuff that still applies to today, and there's some stuff that doesn't apply anymore, but it's fun to read through stuff like that. Okay, so now it's time to add the pockets. And again, on the ones I did for showing you guys, I stitched around the edge and I stitched around the pocket because, you know, you sew aprons, and I felt like it just had to have that. But for the ones today, I'm not going to sew them, and that'll be all right too. Not everybody has a sewing machine, and I think they can look just as nice without it. Also, you could always use a pen and make faux stitches if you want that look. Okay, so then we're going to add a little fussy cut to each of these. So I like that one. This is the ones I did on the other one, so I've got plenty of those. Maybe I'll just do those two. All right. I went through my recipe books that I'm using to make some of this stuff, and certainly will be using for some of the signature pages, thinking there would be some images I could cut out, and didn't really find any that I thought would work for this. So that's where I went into ChatGPT, and I took a picture of the scrapbook paper and I uploaded that to ChatGPT, and I said, I need a fussy cut for apron tags with kitchen items that I could add to some small pockets and labels, and that's what it gave me. Now keep in mind, me and ChatGPT do not always see eye to eye on what the end result is. That's one thing when I show you how to do this, there is a certain level of patience you really have to have, because if you don't, it will aggravate you. Your first image that it gives you, I promise you, will be the best image you get out of all of them. So it's so important, besides just uploading the color schemes and stuff, be as verbally descriptive as you possibly can be. You can think, oh my gosh, I've wrote a paragraph, this is way too much. But honestly, the more descriptive you are, the better. My glue's still wet. Normally when I use the crocodile, it just punches those holes perfectly, but it's because I've not waited for the glue to dry for the purposes of this video. Just know that when you make yours, give your glue a little bit more time to dry, and those will come right out. Okay, so now we're going to use our gingham ribbon, and I thought about just putting these on in between the layers and not punching the holes, and that would look cute too, but I decided I wanted these to be 3D and stand out a bit more. I think the more interactive our things are, the more fun they are. Okay. Put that in there. And then come around and tie a knot on this side. And I am cutting these to make them a little decorative. And you don't have to, you can leave them loose if you want, but I tacked mine down with a little bit of glue. Not much, just a little bit. And then I took a recipe from one of the vintage cookbooks that was a short, like just a, I can open it up and show you. So this is the whole recipe for chocolate clusters. So I cut across and then I'm tucking that down into the pocket. You could also just make that a piece of coffee dyed paper to have it to write on if you wanted. You can write here on the back of the tag. If you don't want to use them for tags, you could glue it in on the side and make it a tuck spot in your journal. It could be a journal topper if you wanted it to be. All right, I'll finish this one after the video, but let me go back over and show you these real quick. I think they are so cute. I just love them. There we go. Thanks for stopping by. This is Nanner BaNanner signing off. Until next time, keep it cute, keep it crafty, and keep making something out of nothing. Bye.